Today I'm joined by Dan Knowlton. Dan is the co-founder and CMO at Knowlton, a marketing agency built around the idea of advertainment. And they create content for people that actually works, that people actually watch, and and at the same time, while still driving serious commercial results for brands. So welcome, Dan, and thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here, Simon. Thanks for having me.
No, that's great. Look, Dan, I've just, given a very brief overview of what you do there, but for anyone that doesn't know Knowlton, how would you describe what you do and who you do it for?
So I guess we describe ourselves as a creative marketing agency. We work with some of the world's leading brands to help them with their marketing. And you kind of nailed our unique approach that we call ADVERTAINMENT, which is focused on creative marketing campaigns that, one, people actually enjoy consuming, and two, drive measurable outcomes. Because I think a lot of marketing is disruptive and annoying. We've built our whole business around creative marketing that people actually enjoy consuming and then getting the results that they want.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, look, we'll dig into that a little bit more as we go through things. But let's go back a step, Dan, and talk about when you first set up Knowlton. So you set it up with your brother.
Yep.
Did you always want to be a business owner? Is that something that you'd wanted to do? How did you become a business owner?
Yeah, looking back, like my dad ran a business consultancy for many years, and he was my kind of mentor and someone I always really look up to. So I had in the back of my mind, it'd be great to get into business and start a business, but for many years had no idea what on earth that would be or how it could come together. But really set up the business 10 years ago because I was a bit of a crossroads. I'd gone to university, did a marketing and business management degree, then went to work and did a graduate scheme at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and worked my way up the ranks there. Eventually got to a point where I wasn't enjoying it. It was very stressful. I got promoted very quickly and was kind of out of my depth, really. I was very good at sales, so I got promoted very quickly, but I wasn't good at managing people or having the skills really needed to run a branch, this car rental branch in Crawley that had 250 cars, 10 staff. They just promoted me to manage a team of 9 with minimal experience. And then I quit that. And I remember my dad gave me some advice and said, you either need to get back into the corporate world and get another job, which is very logical, or you need to start something yourself. And I thought, I never want to work for a company again because of sort of how that ended. So the only option is to start a business.
Yeah. Okay, great. And look, what you've highlighted there is really interesting, first of all, in terms of how a lot of companies promote people but don't train them, don't give them the skills and knowledge and experience to effectively, you were effectively running a business now in a enterprise sort of branch. You were having to run the business. So it's interesting how people sort of promote people but don't give them the training to do it. Okay, so look, what was the moment that you realized that Knowlton could be more than just another marketing agency?
Good question. I guess if I was to look back at the last 10 years and I was to look at a graph of our kind of growth and how we've evolved, it would be a very flat graph for a number of years, slowly increasing, and then a kind of hockey stick at the end.
Right.
And I guess the moment, there's been lots of moments over that period of time where we've kind of had small wins that have helped give us confidence that this can be a success. So looking back, when we started out, we worked with very small micro businesses, local cafes, hotels, restaurants, supporting them with their marketing. Didn't pay us a lot of money, but I guess we were kind of charging based on the value we were providing. So it was kind of fair, but it was very difficult to grow. We were in the classic kind of stage of, it was just Lloyd and I working from our parents' spare room. Yeah. We would get busy with lots of clients, lots of small micro clients. Eventually, we got to a point where we thought we can't do this on our own, so we hired our cousin. He helped with some bits, and then eventually, I remember a moment very early on where our first sort of, we call it stepping stone client. So a client that's that slight caliber above that helps give us credibility and helps build trust. So our first sort of stepping stone client was Thanet Council.
Okay.
That was a credible company that, or the organization that we worked with. Then it was
Yeah.
Kent County Council. Then I remember a moment when we pitched to do some work for Eurotunnel, the underground train system,
Wow. Okay.
and we won it. And I guess those small moments over the years have been the moments giving me that slight boost of confidence that what we're doing is actually good. Because you're always questioning yourself, is it work? Are we any good? And then eventually now we work with lots of well-known brands like the BBC, Channel 4, Marvel, Nestlé, Sunny D. So we've kind of over 10 years, we've built up that confidence of, like the world's leading brands are knocking at our door. I feel fairly confident in what we do now. We have the evidence to back that up, which is nice, but it has taken a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, like, again, what you've highlighted there is that initial imposter syndrome of, are we good enough? Even though you were working with, starting to, actually, those stepping stones that you refer to, sort of Thanet Council and Kent County Council, these organisations don't just work with anyone. But then actually gaining that credibility and building that confidence through working with bigger businesses. And what a great selection of sort of clients you've got now. But okay, so we mentioned it at the beginning. You've built Knowlton around the idea of advertainment. What does that actually mean in practice, and why does it work so well?
The truth is, it's a bit of a buzzword. Us marketers love buzzwords. So it's a combination of two words, advertising and entertainment, to form advertainment. What it is, I guess, to give you the quick backstory, in 2017, after a number of years of trying lots of different marketing approaches, we thought we'd test something new. So we produced this really creative, fun testimonials video of our clients saying nice things about us, but we did it in a different way. We knew that no one would want to watch a 5-minute video of our customers saying how brilliant we are, because it's quite boring, right?
Yeah.
So we came up with this idea where we'd shoot interviews with our customers saying the boring, nice things about us. Yeah. But we also dressed up as different characters, pretending to be our own customers in a funny, witty way, commenting how great it is to work with Knowlton and Dan and Lloyd. Yeah. And we cut the fake interviews in between the real interviews to produce this 5-minute video of, real customer testimonial, then a funny thing of us dressed up as different characters with a fake mustache saying how brilliant we are. And at the end of the 5-minute video, we had some text pop up on the screen. And the text on the screen said, you've literally been watching a 5-minute advert for our company. Imagine what we could do for you. And that was the aha moment. They have been watching an advert for 5 minutes. We could help them get their customers to watch advertising about them. Posted it online, and it outperformed anything we'd ever done in the past. That was our kind of light bulb moment. Wow. We got more new business than anything we tried in the past. That was really the pivotal moment where we thought we're onto something here. And then we started working with some of those smaller local businesses, like we worked with a gym in Maidstone, and we applied that same approach with their company, and it worked incredibly well. We produced this amazing case study that we then promoted. And over the years, I guess that's the simplified version of we just have kept doing that for bigger, better organizations. And we have this approach that we call milking the top 10%.
Okay.
So whenever we win these stepping stone clients, which is a client which is that slight caliber above the previous one, we apply our own marketing approach in terms of promoting that as a case study to attract more companies that want to do that. So that's kind of been that pivotal moment in 2017 was how we accidentally discovered this. And then we've just gone all in on it for the last 10 years or the last 9 or 8 years.
And look, what a great thing. And, there's loads, we could probably list sort of loads of inventions and that people have come across by just stumbled across them. But the key thing there is that you've actually then made it work. You've thought about, how can we help other businesses use what worked for us? So I love it. And interesting, it resonates with me because we've got a concept that we refer to in our business that's called edutainment, which is the cross between education and entertainment, because we believe that when education is entertaining, people learn more. So again, it's funny that we've got that sort of similar sort of concept there. But okay, so one of the things that a lot of businesses struggle with is to balance creativity with return on investment. How do you make sure that entertaining content still delivers measurable commercial results?
Brilliant question. And we learnt this by getting it wrong for a period of time. So when before we produced the ADVERTAINMENT testimonial video that worked incredibly well, we tried a load of things before that. And what we got wrong originally was we just produced funny content.
Yeah.
So it got loads of likes, loads of comments, reached thousands of people, but it didn't drive any business.
Okay.
And that led into us thinking we need to change things up here. We need the entertaining content to also drive business. That's when we tried the testimonials video. So the way we do it is you have to have both things in mind. But I think the problem most brands face is they have goals of, most brands are looking to grow, of driving sales, but they go into their marketing approach with that as the key objective. We need more sales, so let's shout to the world how great our product is and why people should invest in it or buy it.
Yeah.
But the way that they should actually be thinking is that's a waste of time if you're not creating content that people will actually watch or consume. So we flip it on its head. We start with, we work backwards. We start with, first of all, who is the person we're trying to convince to do something? What do they look like? What's the target market? What are their interests? What are their hobbies? What content will they resonate with? What are their challenges that we solve? Start with them in mind. Then the next step is, how do we create content that they'll actually enjoy consuming? And, a lot of people think of advertainment when we talk about it is it has to be funny. Now that's one lever you can pull on, but also that doesn't always work for more serious brands with lots of kind of red tape. So it needs to trigger some kind of emotion. It needs to be funny. It needs to make people feel joy. Sometimes it can be negative as well. It can make them feel sad. If you look at sort of a lot of successful charity campaigns, it doesn't make you laugh or feel joy. It pulls on your heartstrings and makes you sort of feel sad. But then that emotion being triggers you to take an action that they want you to take, to donate money. So it's understanding, and we've done campaigns we relaunched Sunny D in the UK. The big lever we pulled on there was nostalgia. We did a campaign where we were targeting millennials. We did a whole campaign leaning into what do millennials remember from their childhood growing up. Let's product those things so that when they're consuming it, they're thinking, I remember getting a Tamagotchi or my first PlayStation 1 or my first Nokia 3310. And you can then start to talk about the things they resonate with. But then the next stage, which is just as important, is once you've got them in, you need to subtly integrate why your product is the best solution to their problem within all of that content. So you draw them in with the relatable, entertaining, emotion triggering content, but with clever script writing or clever copywriting, you're also cleverly communicating why your product is better than the other solutions out there.
Very interesting in terms of what goes behind this. And again, something that resonates with me, what you sort of said there, Dan, was that we buy on emotions. We think we buy on logic, but actually a lot of purchases we make they're emotion first, then backed up by logic. Exactly. So I like the fact that you're saying there, look, we've got to get some emotion, whether that's happy, sad, nostalgic, but actually it's about triggering that emotion and then backing that up with logic. So yeah, it makes absolute sense. And
it's also, just to add to that, Simon, it's also what's really key is understanding who it is you're trying to convince to do something.
Yeah.
For example, for us, the people that we work with and we help are mainly senior marketers from mid to large brands. Okay. It's really important that we understand what keeps them up at night. What are they currently not happy with their current agencies that we can help solve? And over 10 years of working with these people, you start to get to know them pretty well. And some of them are really good friends now, and we can really understand what they care about and then tie everything I've spoken about into what they actually care about. And everyone's different. Like, not everyone has the same motivation. So, some senior marketers want to look good to their boss. Some just want you to achieve the results that make them look good. Some want to win awards. Some want to create work they're proud of. And, we've made this mistake in the past of just thinking all they want is us to get the results they want. That's the main motivation. That's actually wrong in a lot of cases. Some of them want an easy life. So they want communication to be really good, so that you're managing their expectations, so that when they go to the board, they've got all the answers they need. It's been a long learning curve of making mistakes and figuring this stuff out, but and we're still learning now. So we haven't, cracked it yet, but.
Well, to be honest, I'd be worried if you turned around and said, "Oh, we know it all now," because that's that closed mindset, isn't it? That fixed mindset. But to go, yeah, look, we're still learning stuff. That's that open mindset, and and also the world's changing, isn't it, as well, Dan? So if you go, well, actually, we know everything we need to know now. Well, hold on, tomorrow, next week, you don't know everything, because the world is changing at such a fast pace with things like, particularly with things AI and that sort of thing. So. Yeah, so I love the fact that you've gone, yeah, look, actually, we're still learning. That's how everybody should be. And actually, on that note, if you could wave a magic wand and solve one challenge in your business right now, what would it be?
That's a good question. We've got lots of challenges that we're constantly facing. I'm trying to think of one key challenge. Maybe it's around our processes. I guess we're something that's helped us grow is we're constantly very critical of ourselves.
Yeah.
And where some people would think we're doing all right, even when we win our biggest, most successful clients and we do an amazing job for them, we still debrief and have a look at it and think, what can we do to improve? I think that's I guess it's continuing what we're currently doing. And we always, I guess something we always do is, and something I wish I'd done earlier on, is try to look for people who are already achieving what we want to achieve and get advice from them. I think that's something we didn't do early on. We've now, we've got consulting from people who have sold their agency and have got to the point we want to, and that their advice has been hugely valuable because they've been there, done it, and got the t-shirt. And I wish we would have done that sooner, because that we could have prevented a lot of the mistakes we made by just asking them for advice.
Yeah, interesting. And look, you're absolutely right, because there's a lot of people out there, as you say, that have been there, seen it, done it. And the key thing with that is actually listening to them. You don't need to necessarily do what they say, because every view is different. But the key thing is listening to people and then just saying, right, okay, based on what I've learned from everybody, what do I then think is the right thing to do? Looking ahead, Dan, 12 to 18 months, what's the one thing that if you get right would make the biggest difference to Knowlton?
So we've got this 10-year plan we call the 2030 plan that we started in 2020. So we've got very clear outcomes for where we want to be by 2030, and then a lead up approach to, our revenue, profit, all of our financials, what our team needs to look like. I guess the one key thing in the next 12 to 18 months is sticking to that plan that we have and making sure we're hitting it. And something that we're not as good at that we should be is really being consistent with our weekly, monthly, quarterly meetings to make sure we're analysing where we are and coming up with actions to make sure we're on track with that. That's something that can definitely be improved. But sticking to that plan that we've made, I think, is the key thing.
Wow, I love that. What a great share. So, again, what I've sort of picked up there is, one, having a plan, absolutely key to say, okay, well, what does your business look like in, 10 years time from when you sort of set the plan? But actually, the other thing that you've highlighted there is actually don't just put it in a bottom drawer and go, right, we've set the plan now, we don't need to look at it again. Look at it on a regular basis, weekly, monthly, pick it up. Right, what are the actions that we need to take this week, this month, to move us towards achieving that 10-year plan?
And I think the things that crop up, it's a constant challenge, because we know we need to do it, but then a client comes in with this massive opportunity that we need to pitch for, and we need all the resource to go to that. And it's like we're constantly trying to prioritize our time. Something we're doing at the minute is we're hiring a number of kind of senior roles. Traditionally, we've hired junior roles, then trained them and built them up within the business. But now we're looking to bring in some of those more senior hires to help take some of the load and help us delegate more of those sort of bigger picture thinking decisions. And but we're in that process, and it's finding the right people is challenging, and Hopefully we'll get there. I'm sure we will.
I'm sure you will. No doubt you will, Dan. And actually, what you've described there is a really common approach with business as businesses grow. Because actually, what businesses do is they hire technicians to do the work.
Mm.
So that means that, like, so you probably started off doing all the advertainment yourself, but then you hire people to do that work for you, and you step up to managing the people that are doing it for you.
Yep.
Actually, what you're now doing is recruiting people to replace you as a manager that
Yeah,
manages those people, so that you can step up to working on the
exactly.
business and the strategy and driving it forward. So yeah, what you've described there and what you've gone through is showing that growth of a business. So again, that's really common, and it's great that you're looking to do that as well, because what can hit a lot of people is that they try and do all of it. They try and be the person doing the work. They try and, whilst they're doing that, they're trying to manage the other people that are helping them do the work. And at the same time, they're trying to work on strategy and goals and plans and everything. And they wonder why they're working so hard. So
Yeah.
yeah, love it, Dan.
Constant challenge. We just need more hours in the day and we'll be fine.
Well, I always say, Dan, that we've got the same hours in the day as Richard Branson and Bill Gates and Elon
True.
Musk. So it's not about the number of hours; it's what we do with our hours that's
That is very
important.
true. That is
But
very true.
um, all right. So look, for business owners listening, who want better results from their marketing, what's the one thing that they should focus on in the next 90 days? Apart from hiring you guys, obviously, but
No, we might not be right for them. They can make their own decision. But if I was to go into a business, I'd say my key kind of questions is one, first of all, understanding what success looks like. Are
yeah,
you clear on what success actually looks like? A lot of people, when you really drill down into, what does that translate to in terms of numbers and detail, it's very wishy-washy. So being clear on what the outcome is, what success looks like. If you haven't got that, figure it out. So start with that endpoint in mind. Then this is something I think every business should do. Audit everything you're investing in marketing, from the people in your team to the time to the tools you're investing in. Audit, are those things helping you to achieve that outcome that you've set? There'll be some things. So let's say your success look like you growing to X revenue, and you've
yeah,
got these 5 different marketing channels you're investing in: events, paid ads, SEO, whatever.
yeah.
Look at those and think, how much are they contributing to that end goal? A lot
Mm,
of people say, I have no idea how much they're contributing. And that's something you need to fix. You need to have an approach where you're tracking what you're investing and what the outcomes are. So
yeah,
do that audit. And then start to figure out a plan of keeping it really simple. One, do more of what works. This was a piece of advice, a simple piece of advice. We paid a lot of money for a guy who's very successful and sold his agency. He looked at what we're doing and where most of our business is coming from, and it was LinkedIn. And he sort of said, do more of that, triple down on that. We
yeah,
did. And we've had a record-breaking year, which sounds like such simple, basic advice. But when you're in the weeds doing it, you don't sort of step out and think, of course, we should be doing more of that. So yeah, develop that new strategy, do more of what's working, cut the things that aren't instantly. There'll be things that you're investing in that just because you've always invested in them, and we always exhibit at this event or whatever. Like, if you can't prove that that's working, cut it, and then
yeah,
start to look at investing in things that are more effective. And again, you might need to get out external help from another marketing expert or whatever. But try and get that expertise of people that have been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and ask them what's working for them. Then start to test those things within your company and follow that looping process of measuring the performance. How much is it helping us achieve our outcomes? And cut the things that aren't and do more of the things that are. That's a very simplified version of what I would do, but hopefully it's useful.
you probably noticed I was scribbling things down there in terms, because they were really resonating with me. But the two things that I've picked up from there is, one, you've got to have goals of what you want to achieve from it. There's no point in just doing stuff but not knowing what you want to achieve from it. But the second thing that I picked up from that, Dan, is actually test and measure what's working and what's not working. Cut the things that aren't and carry on doing the things that
Mhm.
are. So that's really valuable what you've just sort of shared there, Dan. And it's interesting. I was uh, at a seminar where Gary Vaynerchuk was presenting, and he said one of the things he said that really resonated with me. He said, um, "Do social media, do LinkedIn." He said, "It's effing free. Why wouldn't you do it?" You know, he said it a bit stronger than that. I
Yeah.
made it a bit PG friendly, but yeah, he just kept saying it's free. You know, like
Mm.
so. Yeah, so you know, like as you say, if LinkedIn works, great. It's free. Do it. Look,
Yeah, I think
look.
most people listening, and this isn't, we used to be like this, will not have a clue which parts of their marketing is working and not working. And that's
Yeah,
such a risk because you end up just, and we've made this mistake before, you end up just doing what you think works best
yeah,
and what you've always done. And then you look back 5 years and you think, we've just burnt all that money because it's just going on things that we thought were good, but there was no data or evidence to back it up. That's why it's so important to track everything you do. For us, when we're pitching these big, well-known brands, we have to prove everything to them. We have to show them data that gives them evidence that what we're doing is worth the investment. And if it's not, they won't invest anymore. So that's why it's been drummed into our head that you have to prove everything. Some things are more challenging to prove than others, but you at least have to have a hypothesis and then test it and then provide some kind of evidence that what you're doing is having a measurable impact.
yeah. I agree. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Dan. And look, there's one question that I always like to ask everybody that's kind enough to join me on this discussion, and that's this. What is the best advice that you would give to an 18-year-old you?
Good question. It would probably echo something I said earlier. I think whatever it is you're trying to do, if it's starting a business, getting a career in a certain industry, find the people who've already achieved what you want to achieve
Mm,
and ask them for advice. Like, I think I was very scared to go out there and speak to strangers when I first started out, very sort of worried or what they might think. But I think lots of people are very willing to help and give advice. Send them a message, like find those people who have done what you want to do, send them a message asking them for advice. And you'll be surprised that even very well-known people are willing to give you advice and help. So that's what I wish I did. That would have helped us not take 10 years to get to where we are. But no regrets and all that. But that would
absolutely.
have
Yeah.
probably fast-tracked our growth.
Great share, Dan. Thank you very much. And look, Dan, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today and sharing more about, your business, but also your journey as well. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks for having me.